All right. Well, good morning, everybody, where I'm at, and good afternoon, where Brian is at. This is ACES53. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and we're here to talk a little bit about. I have no idea today. I apologize. I have no idea where we are.
I think we
It's
still need to stick with the branding and reputation because,
how to be the authority kind of thing.
I'm amazed. So you don't realize how far along you are until you meet someone who's where you once were. And what I mean by that is there were some people who were at an event I went to the other week, highly successful, zero brand presence, zero authority. And like one of the guys that was there, he's a hedge fund manager, but he wants to build his personal brand. And so we're like, all right, let's look you up. And he didn't have a lot that was there. And it was the same thing with another girl. She wants to be a speaker. She's like, I want to be a speaker, but she doesn't have a speaker page. She's never done a one-sheeter. She doesn't have a sizzle reel, which sizzle reels are harder to get, right? Because you have to have recorded so many videos. Somebody's got to cut it up. You got to pay for it. But it's a nice reminder that we all started from somewhere.
Right.
And we've been talking about this for a year.
I'm sorry, I'll cut you off. I apologize. Yeah. But the sizzle reel is great, but it's not everything. It's that horrible maraschino cherry that's in the freaking sundae. Yep. It's just that extra thing on top so people, it makes it look good presentation.
Yes.
Because there are speakers we know who are paid really well who do not have a sizzle reel.
Right.
So, I mean, don't focus on that. You want to get a few pictures of you on stages and stuff like that.
Right.
You can do that very inexpensively.
Yes, you can. It just, what they were talking about at the event, and somebody brought up, it's a really good point, is what shows up when somebody Googles your name is the new Handshake. And that's basically people will hear your name. You'll get a referral, a recommendation, you name it. But somebody's going to go look you up on, they're either going to Google you or they're going to go straight to social media and look and see, how can I learn a little bit about this person? So do you have things out there that are going to help you or hurt you? And obviously it's going to hurt you if they don't find anything, more so than you could have bad stuff that you've improved upon. And that's one of the other things we talked about is get going, then get good, just start getting out there. We talked last week about my first microphone was a Yeti. And then we talked about why I wish I would have spent more money up front, but I didn't know, but you still got out there and recorded and created content that you can continue to improve. But a lot of people have that analysis paralysis and they're afraid to put anything out there, and completely understandable. We've all been there. But if you want people to hire you for anything, they want to be able to research you.
You're not seeing me on the screen. I thought you put on Do Not Disturb there, sir.
I do, but the X gets through that for kiddo reasons.
See, this is my Yeti, the blue. That was my first one, which is just like everybody else. I was talking to somebody else and I said, everybody gets this, which is not what you want, but they've sold it so well. Their brand is that is the mic to get for podcasting because you see it everywhere, but it's not the mic you want for podcasting. You don't, not the mic you want to do a lot of recording on. You want a dynamic mic that only picks up from the front, not the other stuff. Because there's a landscape guy mowing out there that you would have heard if I was on this one.
And that was my old problem. Between I live in the city and between garbage trucks, people, weed eaters, lawnmowers, you name it, we were picking up tons of stuff. And you mentioned last week, your dogs, we can't hear them snoring down below you.
Thank God, because I can.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, you're up.
No, I'm just going to, it's important to have the right of, we talked about this last week. If you're going to be, because one of the ways to get in other people's sandbox is to be on their podcast.
Right.
And be interviewed. And you can get that through Podmatch. You can get put on there and put some really nice stuff in there. But again, use ChatGPT to help you rewrite all that stuff because that'll help you. But you need to have the right equipment so they want to have you back. Because if you don't have the right equipment, I talked about this last week. I canceled one of my podcasts because they had ear pods, which you do when you're on, out somewhere else. But I'm okay with that because we this one we talk about, hey, occasionally Brian's going to be somewhere and we're going to want to see what's going on. So it's okay. But if you're trying to record this as a regular podcast, you need to have a good set of headphones and a good mic. And you can do that very inexpensively today. And
it's funny, after last week's, I sat down, it might have been yesterday. So I think I told you over the weekend, I didn't leave my couch hardly because I just was worn out. But I sat down yesterday and started writing down, like, if I were to start over, what are things that I would do differently? And one of them
Get
was,
married.
what's that? Yeah, I mean, podcasting. But yes, hey, no marriage, no kiddo. So, but yeah,
I've seen a lot of people who have kids and not married. So
that's true. That's true. I wouldn't have my current kid. How's that? I could have a kid. But I did. I put down, like, what are things that mattered, and it was like lighting, microphone, headset, background. Now, headset's more you. I haven't taken a plunge into that, but like we talked about last week, I used to have a boring white wall, and I didn't like that. And once I actually created a studio and created background and put books that I like and things of that nature, that's what made me feel comfortable being here and recording the thing. So it's just personalizing it. But again, when people go and Google you, if you've just got a boring background and you're not really dynamic, like moving your hands around, talking, changing things, people will move on. But some of the statistics that a guy named Dave threw out last week was, if you have something that people can see and find out, there's a 617% increase in business if there's, like, you have reviews or testimonials.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then basically 75% of your ability to do business is based upon what people find out about you online. Because if they don't like what they see, you'll never hear from them.
Right. Well, I think reviews, I've gotten through my business side for my mortgage stuff. I have a ton of reviews over there compared to a lot of people. And it's difficult to get those reviews. People love you, but they don't leave reviews. And people understand. I used to pay my staff to make sure that people would get reviews. You know, if they would get money if they got them to get a review. You know,
there's a plumber. His tagline is "Fix pipes and pet dogs." And what he'll do is he'll tell people, "Hey, right here's your bill. If you will go and give me a 5-star review right here while we're sitting here, and only if you're happy with my work, I'll give you a discount of," and I can't remember if it was a percentage or a dollar amount. But in his line of business, where it is a commodity, standing out by reviews is an important thing. And we've all been trained by Amazon, what's the table one? Open Table, Yelp, to go and trust the reviews. We don't know who the hell left them, but we trust that somebody took the time to do it.
Right. I mean, because there's a lot of reviews. There's bad reviews. There's other stuff people do just whatever. I think the most important thing is you need to build your brand, and your brand is what you want. I remember Steve would say it's what people talk about you when you leave the room.
Yes.
And that's more of your reputation, but that's what I would say. But there is so much you can do to build that up, and you should be working on your own brand before you do your company brand.
Right.
Because Elon Musk had his own brand before he was Tesla, and he was the SpaceX and X and all that stuff now.
This day and age, you don't know who the company is. Like you said, Elon before anything else, Brad Lee before you know what he does. You can sit here and go down the list of Grant Cardone. Now all of his stuff is called Grant Cardone Industries or Grant Cardone, whatever, but it's their personal brands. Alex Hormozy, he's had acquisition.com for years, but everybody knows who him and Layla are before they go and look for acquisition.com.
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah.
You just got to build that. And you can't do any of the stuff you want to do until you build that. We both had that same problem a couple of years ago. We didn't have the presence we have on everywhere now. If you Google my name or your name, before I forget, you see in there, it says edovertheedge.com.
Yeah. What was that?
So in town, there's a Learning Quest is putting on where they're going to have you rappel down a 8-story building or whatever. You can't touch the building, but they're going to have you, and they're going to control pretty much everything. So it's kind of like they're going to lower my ass down. Well, anyway, I got talked into doing it on the radio last weekend. Problem is, it's a Saturday, so I need help support to, get my numbers up. I need to get to about 1,000 at least. And so if anybody can throw some money that way, I'd appreciate it. And here's a prime example. To give my funding page out to people, ltct.com/events/over the edge. And I'm like, no, that does not work for me. So I went and got the domain Ed Over the Edge, and have it redirected right to my funding page. So you can go right away to edovertheedge.com, go in there and donate the whole 9 yards. I'm like, you got to make this easier for people.
I have a suggested change to your website. Go and buy Push Ed over the edge, and that will be, because it's all of people's money. It's going to help push you past it.
I know, but
I like Push Ed over the edge.
I know, but it's too late now.
No, it's not. You can buy 2.
Yeah, hey, well, you know, so, but that's what that is. And then, you know, Operation Firewalk, we got to get to. And I was talking to somebody today, and even though we built this thing last year, and a lot of people know, it's still a branding issue we have to deal with, and a marketing issue that we have to deal with to get the word out for more people. And yes, it's more of a word of mouth, and yes, my Rotary is supporting it and a bunch of other stuff, but there's so much more you can do, and you need to focus on what you're not doing. And until you find your perfect client, you're never going to know that.
Right. And that's, you and I've talked about before, you have an idea and everybody calls it the polished turd or whatever, but what you start with may not be what you end up with. And it's feedback of what are people willing to support you with, both socially and financially, will help you determine where you go, what you move, where you pivot.
I mean, everybody talks about building all these little masterminds or little groups. And we talked about it last week, and then I was like brainstorming over the weekend and other stuff. And I didn't lay on my couch, but I did watch. You're about my age. Back, I didn't watch it in '79. There was a series called Salem's Lot. About vampires, and it was like a mini series on TV, and it was the scariest thing for people. Well, they remade an actual movie. It's on Cinemax or whatever, and I
watched it this weekend.
Oh, you watched it? Yeah, I watched it too. Yeah.
That's
exactly the same movie, just updated.
Yes.
Yeah, and it wasn't that scary. There wasn't a bunch of blood and other stuff. So
no, without giving too much away, at the outdoor location, I thought it was funny where all the vampires hide.
Yeah, that was new.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess that's where you would hide, but yeah.
Well, that was because they had so many of them at one time. They didn't have time to get the mortuaries and everybody else. They couldn't make enough caskets at the time.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I like
it was a great way of. I don't remember than the first one because it was so freaking long ago, and I guess they actually made a new series in 2004. I didn't know about it. I did when I researched what year that was, because I couldn't believe. I remembered about it, and people, of course we didn't. It was only when there was 3 channels on.
Yeah.
I was really young at that time. So when
you were the remote, you have to walk and actually twist it.
In between the channels to get it to come in or spin the little wheel.
Yeah. I did. I watched that, and I watched Deadpool and 3. With Wolverine. I went ahead and bought it because I knew I watched it in the theaters, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that again. That's a good one.
That's a great movie.
Yeah. And when you talk about branding in that one, the whole thing, you guys should have watched it by now. So if you didn't, that's the first time Hugh Jackman is in the original Wolverine costume and the colors of what's in the comic book, and they make reference to it. But they brought back so many characters from all the X-Men movies over the years. That's what also added to that movie, not just Deadpool and Wolverine, but all the other cast members that were there. It was a pretty impressive lineup. And
some that weren't there, that were not supposed to be there.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, the fight between him and Sabretooth and the others, all that stuff. Yeah. Again, it's just and my wife wants to watch it. I'm like, you're not even going to understand the freaking jokes and the other stuff in this because you don't understand the references that they're going to talk about.
Yeah. But growing up, I watched the X-Men cartoon. I never read any of the comic books. I've never read much of any comic book. But that's my Saturday show. When I get up and, parents are still asleep, go watch X-Men cartoons.
Yeah. So we weren't allowed to.
That explains a lot.
Yep. I know. I have issues.
You're sheltered.
I have issues. But again, it's about branding. It's about putting in. We use that word a little too much today. We need to change it.
We do. One of the things that a guy talked about at the Speakeasy in New York was the 3 things you have to focus on is how visible are you? How authoritative does it seem? And is your content influential to make people want to watch for more? So the first one, visible, we've talked about it. How often do you post? Are you consistent across all of the platforms? When people Google you, do you show up or not? Authoritative, what makes you different or stand out from other people? That one's one. It's funny. I don't think I've talked to you since Friday. there was another speaker who was in town, and I ended up going out to watch him talk an event. And I just hung out the rest of that Friday night when they went to the dinner with all the attendees. And it was a room full of, oh gosh, I don't know, 20 online fitness coaches. But they all still have a business, but they have to stand out against thousands of people who, you go on Instagram, type in fit anything, and everybody's name will show up. So they're competing against all these different people. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy. But I mean, they're all in there, and people were the 2 front rows. I think you had to make over $250,000 a year in revenue to sit in the 2 front rows, and it was full, 10 people. And some of them, one of the girls, 27, has 200 clients, makes $500,000 a year, and she's just giving fitness and nutrition advice. But again, she had to learn to stand out, had to be different. She hates posting content, but she knows she has to do it because it's what attracts people to her. And when she gets to X many clients, then she hires another coach to handle them. So yeah.
So basically it's about building a community.
Absolutely. But you have to, it's like we talked about, people have to trust you before they're going to give you money to join your community. So they're going to want to see you in action. It used to be like 2 to 3 touches. And we're going back pre-internet. All you really had was radio ads, television ads, newspapers, and magazines. Then in the internet came along, okay, well, sponsor something on AOL, right? But now people want to know, can I find you on more than one platform? Do you have short form content under 60 seconds? Do you have long form content over 60 seconds? Do you have this? Are you the same across every platform? And then again, who are you associated with? So one of the things that you and I have talked about this before is if you're at an event and you're talking to someone, are you taking pictures with them? Because there is credibility in surrounding yourself with the right people. There's actually, somebody who is a major online presence that you pay a ticket for the event, and there's a higher level ticket, and you get like 15 pictures with the celebrities. Right. Because we've been raised to think that if someone is famous, it's guilt by association. So there's the old ad, I don't remember what watch it was, but maybe Tag or something, where Leonardo DiCaprio is holding it like this. He's not even wearing it, but we see a famous actor holding a watch and people want that watch. So what is the new version of that? Is social media and presence.
I'm sorry, I was checking something real quick.
No worries.
While you're talking, because that was great stuff, but
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, Omega or whatever they are, So,
yeah.
So we were talking community, and you're talking about, because someone said to you, you guys need to build your mastermind. You need to build this because it works. It's all this, and it does work. Right. So with my Firewalk, we're going to build a community that you are only able to join once you have been through the Firewalk.
That's smart. That's the Tony Robbins approach. Not you can join his mastermind no matter what, but if you want to come back and be a volunteer, you can't be a volunteer unless you've gone through the training.
Right. Well, no, I'm just thinking just a whole community that's based off of, because our big thing is finding your purpose again.
Yeah.
You can't find your purpose by joining a community unless you're just like the rest of the people.
Ooh.
I just thought an idea.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, the reason I tilted my head is I'm actually sitting in on a challenge right now there's a couple that lives in Dallas, and they're doing a post or a video, a post or something every day in October, but they help people discover their purpose. And you can take an online assessment. It gives you like 50 pages based on what you filled out. I haven't done it yet, but maybe I'll do that in between now and Thursday. And if it turns out to be a good one, we'll have them on a future episode. Because I think you're right. People don't know what their purpose is. They have an idea like, oh, I want to help people. You're like, with?
Well, so when we get out of the military, we lose our purpose. And I was talking to a guy today before we came on, and he was saying people don't understand that's a form of PTSD that is not talked about.
Right.
Because you have your purpose while you're in, then you get out and you're like, what is my purpose? And not everybody, some people are focused on like, when I got out, I was going to school, got working on my master's. I kind of knew what I wanted to do. Did it work out exactly the same way I thought it would? No, but it's what I thought was going to happen. You know what I mean? So a lot of us lose that, and we lose where we're going, and we get lost. And so it's about helping people find that purpose by getting, limiting beliefs and a bunch of other stuff that we're doing. But there's so much more we can do to that to help grow. So the question really is should there be something you have to do to be able to join your mastermind or your community to be like-minded like everybody else?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I mean, there are different masterminds that they have to have certain qualifications. I was watching one lady did a story, and it's a fitness one, and you can't be part of hers unless you make you've been in business a certain number of years, and you have to prove what your revenue is. And because they're trying to, that's one of the things is if a mastermind or a group lets everyone in, then it's not good for the people that are in it.
Right.
So being selective about it, obviously not based on race, gender, anything like that, but vetting who comes into your mastermind determines where your mastermind goes.
You can only do the gender thing if it's a nonprofit.
There you go. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
We
have a cigar club here in town. It's a nonprofit. So they don't,
I did that yesterday.
Yeah, no thanks. It's I'm trying to get healthier.
Yeah. I was doing good until New York, and then about 7 pounds came back on. Trying to get back into the swing of it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to stop. And it just figure out, and that's a lot of us go through this. We're trying to figure out what we're doing, and something totally different happens. Because I was looking at Ed Over the Edge. I was like, dude, that could be a great podcast about what puts you over. You know what I mean? Just like I'm talking about rants. You could be, rants about stuff. There's so much things you can do that we get, analysis paralysis and all the other stuff that you can get. Just do like some of these kids, just do something, get started, get going. Don't worry about how good it is.
Right.
One of these days we'll grow up and start putting these things as actual podcasts, and the thing will just take off once we do that.
Right.
And maybe we're afraid to do that.
You're right.
We're committed.
Yeah. I need to start one on my own too. I've already got the name of it. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. I need to though. But kind of circling back to where we started, everything starts with branding right now. Whatever it is, how can people find you? It doesn't have to be called branding. That's what, like you said, everybody likes. But how do people find you? What do they find when they Google you? What do they see when they go online? Simple ones. Stop having a private account if you're trying to do something in the public. If you want to have a private account, friends, family, post pictures of your kids, your dog, whatever it is you eat for dinner, whatever it is, that's fine. But if you're trying to run a business, you need to have an open profile account so people can find you. That's just kind of a simple no-brainer.
My son has one, and I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's stuff on there I don't want to see.
Well, and that's part of the right that goes along with it.
Yeah, that's what that means. So if you have a private account, that's what that means. There's something you're trying to hide from everybody to be able to see. So, or you're trying to do stuff and not have anybody be able to get back at you. You're a hater. You're a hater, and you want to hate.
That's it. So I call that out. Anybody who, obviously TikTok has been more trash talking than anything lately. And that's the first thing I go look at is how many posts have you done? Are you a private account? And I'm like, hey, you stopped by my page and felt like leaving a comment. Tell me, why is your account private? And why do you only have 12 posts, but yet you feel the need to comment on here? And somebody's like, hey, you need to take the high road with people. I'm like, dude, I'm just matching energy.
I'm just
if they come in questions. Yeah.
And that's the problem with this world. If you can't ask a question.
Yep. Well, and I told them it's a double-edged sword. Number one, if you don't respond, people go, aha, see, I knew they were a fraud. If you respond, oh, look, they're defensive. I'm like, no, feeding the algorithm is number one.
That's right.
And I will talk with you all day. And you know what? The more angry you get, the better it'll be for me. And that's still what's adding about, it's slowed down a little bit. So now I get 1,000 about every 4 to 5 days. So maybe once a week, it'll go up 1,000 until another one hits. But let me see.
Oh, you need to also put the ones on top that are doing good. Pin them.
And pin them.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. So right now I'm at, let me see, when will I hit 184? So by tomorrow I'll hit 184. So when I went to New York a week ago, I just crossed over 182. So yeah, about 1,000 every 4 to 5 days.
You're an influencer now.
Yeah. I don't influence a whole lot. But
all you need is 2% of that.
Yep. Well, and you know what? It's kind of funny. Since everybody knows what today is, it's Amazon Prime Day, October 8th and
Tuesday?
9th. Huh? Yeah. October 8th
Wow.
and 9th. Yeah.
Oh.
And so, of course, what we all saw yesterday and this morning was all these email pushes from people in social media. And the reason for that is they all have their affiliate links.
Yep.
And as long as you click on them, I know it used to be like 36 hours or 72 hours. Now I think it's maybe 24 hours. But that's the reason that there's a big push for emails on the 7th, which was Monday, and the first thing this morning on the 8th. And that's because Amazon Prime Days, you're going to go in and buy a lot. If you've got my tag, I'm going to make money off of that.
Yeah, I make whatever you buy that day, I make a percentage of.
Exactly. So that's
why I put it in all my podcasts now at the bottom. If they have a book, I send it over. So you click on to get their book, and now I get everything. And if you buy their book and everything else.
Oh, smart. I was actually thinking I should have done an email, Monday night when it went out, or first thing Tuesday, but I forgot because we swapped over to Go High Level, and I've got the email template yet, but I haven't filled it out.
Well, when you do that thing you're doing, let me know. That the find your purpose thing.
Oh yeah, I'll do the assessments. $50. Like I said, it's a local group. I'll share my results with you, and then if something you want to do, then we'll just have them on.
No, I want to know so I can steal it.
Hold on, that's weird. A different software is popping up on my screen. I haven't done anything, so I'm trying to shut it down. It's a screen recording software, and I don't want it to take over this camera. No. So hold on.
You and your. So I don't think the Joker did very well this weekend.
No,
200 million. That's it.
That's it.
Well, I looked at going, well, the last one did way more than that. Well, the last one was so much better than this one looking. This looks, this looks horrible from from what I saw in the previews. It was like, I don't want to watch that one.
Yeah, there was nothing that appealed me to it, but
but that's again, knowing your audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do love, I'll have to find the guy that he does Batman. It's like Batman fires everyone. And I don't know, have you ever seen those little shorts that they do on YouTube?
No.
Where he's like, we fires Aquaman. He's like, yeah, that's good if we need to talk to fish, and he makes fun of all the different ones, no matter what they do. But it's him versus new Batman. And he's like, what are you worried about? Gluten? And he's like, hey, gluten can be really bad. So it's where they make fun of it. But I didn't like the last Batman. I know they're making another one. Joker, I didn't get, and I have no interest in the new one. Yeah. Deadpool came out. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go see that one. The new Batman stuff. I've even tried, since you were talking about Max earlier, I'm trying to watch The Penguin. It's a struggle.
I know. Thank you. That's not something.
Yeah. I'm on episode 2, and I watch it for 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm bored. Move on.
What's the one on Paramount with Sylvester Stallone?
Tulsa King.
Yeah, I watched that. That's good.
I just started that the other day too. I'm on episode 2 or 3. So
I'm very particular on what I like. Spy stuff. So I like, MI5 and that kind of stuff. So I like the slow horses, or Slough House, we call it.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I watched that one after you recommended it. And
there's a new series. There's 3 seasons out.
Oh no, I only watched the first season.
There's 2, and then there's a 3rd one now just started.
Nice.
Yeah. So
this is stuck in my head when you're talking.
We're way off topic now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mission Impossible, it's a 2-part movie, and it's been 2.5 years. I'm like, when are they going to come out with the next one?
When he needs more money.
Yeah, could be. But you got to think people get older, so you need to kind of film them close. If you saw how different people look pre and post COVID, did you ever watch Billions?
Yeah, but I didn't finish it.
Oh, I loved Billions.
I so many years of it, but it got to a point where it was always the same thing over and over again. Someone trying to destroy the company. They had to go after him, and they had to hurt him.
I will tell you, of shows that ended well, I thought it did a fantastic job of ending it, and I hope they don't bring back another season. They wrapped a lot of stuff up, did it. It was a good sequel, or a good way to close out something. I hope they don't get greedy for money. If they want to do spinoffs, I'd love to see a show on Wags, but Yeah, I hope they don't do anything else. And then, like you said, we're way off topic now.
Yeah, well, it's about branding, knowing your client. And I want to get back to one thing.
Sure.
You need to know who your client is before you brand to them, because you cannot brand to anybody. Well, you brand to everybody, but you need to find out who your client is first, period. Right? Your missions, all that stuff before you start putting your brand out there. That's just my take on it, because you're just
100%.
wasting time and money.
Well, you know Manoj, so he was in New York and he was kind of talking about what he's doing with AI. And that was one of the questions is, well, who's your ideal client? He's like, well, everyone needs AI. And I'm like,
No.
I get it, but that's like me. Everybody's got a face. It's who are you specifically looking for? And at the price point he's talking, he has to narrow it down even more because it's not a cheap introductory course, you know?
No, it's not, because I remember what he told us it was, and it was expensive. Yeah. And to you and your point, everybody has a face, but not everybody wants to know what it says.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or do they care?
Right.
But salespeople care, so that I can talk to that person and know how to talk to them before I can do anything. So there's a huge market for it there. Is there markets for other places? Yes. But where's the most profitable, where people can see the buck right away? Sales.
Exactly. Sales, 100%. That's one of the things that Ryan talked about when I was hanging out with him Friday. I'm like, I know, Ed's been telling me. So,
well, that damn Ed, only been 2 years.
I know.
You just need to niche it down and still do the other stuff, but you need a whole thing that's just focused on how you can help people with their sales. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Agreed.
Grow your sales team. How do you grow your sales team in this market? What everybody wants to do AI. Wouldn't it be nicer if they know that you care about them by spending the time and being, because one of these days, and I'm going to talk about this now, what you should do with Manoj is have the AI create with all the stuff that you know, to where someone can create websites for the person who wants it reads your face.
Right.
But you got to allow the camera to read your face first.
That's going to be the challenge. I was at lunch with another speaker, and she's got a business and everything. That's what we're talking about was AI, and how one of her coaches, that they've got basically a bot that's available 24 hours a day that you can either call on the phone or you can text and it'll respond back with how he would respond. What I was explaining right now, it doesn't do where it will scan somebody's picture. So that's a combination. It may be coming in the future. This is ADD kicking in again. Have you started using the voice chat with ChatGPT?
No.
Yeah, they released that 2 weeks ago. And so a lot of people are loving it because you're just having a conversation with your computer.
Right. But see, I copy and paste a lot of stuff.
You don't know how to read it?
Because I have certain things in order for me to, so I use a lot. I'm hearing feedback. I use a lot for when I'm doing conditions, and then underwriter says I need this, and I need to ask it for my client, and then I do letters and certain things. And I created one where you put in what the condition is. So I don't want to have to say it, but I could cut and paste it over, and then I can answer, cut and paste, and it writes it in seconds. If I have to talk, it would take longer.
Yeah, that's true.
So it just depends on, eventually it will be great on my regular phone. It'll be great when I do certain things there, like texting stuff. Yeah. And I'll make it better. Copy paste. Yeah. That'd be just different.
Yep. I'm with you.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this today. I appreciate you.
Yeah. It's always fun to be here.
Yeah. Well, it's just, we do a lot of stuff, and we just got to get it narrowed down.
Agreed. Get on a cadence of what we're going to attack.
Well, we did building your authority. I think it's still important to build that.
I think
branding's part of that. Who, being the authority in your industry, you need to be that person.
100%.
And it's still there. That's what we talk about. It's just we add
the lighter over there.
I play with my.
That's what I can hear it going on and off. Okay.
It was too close right to the mic. Sorry.
Yeah,
I had it here because I was dealing with Firewalk stuff, and it was sitting there. I was like, oh, I really like the feet. So I was trying to make my community burnt feet.
Gotcha.
But the domain's taken. So
okay.
It doesn't matter.
Well, we shall see. But yes.
Well, it's not being used. And maybe it's the wrong thing to put because you don't burn your feet.
True. That's a good question. You definitely don't want to set the idea that you're going to get hurt.
The negativity of it.
Right.
The negative side.
All right.
Well, non-callous feet. It doesn't work either.
No. We'll figure it out.
Well, take us out.
All right. Well, everyone, once again, it's ACES53 with Ed Parcaut and myself. On Tuesdays, it's just Ed and I, two angry old men on here. And then on Thursdays, we bring on a joker, someone who has a special skill or talent that can help teach us all something at the exact same time. The best way to support us is to like, subscribe, and share this with other people until we eventually get it on one of the platforms. So it's not just us going live.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know if I want to do one more.
Right.
Brian doesn't help. He just shows up.
I'm just I am the what's her name?
When you're not the pretty face.
Yes, I am. What is that? Who's the used to spin the letters? I just forgot.
Vanna.
Huh?
Vanna
White. That's right. Damn it. I was trying to remember the name. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, well, you're old. So one of us is old.
With that, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Thanks, Ed.
Bye. Talk to you later.